visit me.
Hey, listen, I haven't been there in a couple years, but I love Jackson Hole, so you'll see it. Get the fly fishing equipment ready. In the meantime,
Okay.
let's bring in our panel. Mattie Duppler, Independent Women's Forum Visiting Fellow and National Taxpayer Union Senior Fellow. Hal Lambert's with us as well, Point Bridge Capital founder and MAGA ETF creator. All right, Mattie, you know, Foster brought up something interesting. There are some mundane aspects of this that are hard to articulate to the general public, rapid depreciation and things like that, but we saw a durable goods report out today. If you take out all the other things and just focus strictly on investment, business investment, it was another huge number. There's a business component to this improvement to the economy that I think doesn't get enough press.
That's exactly right. You know, Foster was referencing the Tax Cut and Jobs Act and how that changed the way that businesses can now invest here in the United States. They can reduce their tax liability by writing off the cost of investment that first year rather than depreciating it over several years. And I've been saying all along, this is really phase 3 of this year's the implementation we see with the tax cuts. First, we saw people getting bonuses. Then we saw their paychecks change as the withholding tables changed. And now we're seeing that in business investment start to fully kick in. You're right, that durable goods number today, very strong. Couple that with the Fed comments coming from Mr. Powell today, you really see a lot of optimism for the future. What we see in both the economic data and comments from the Fed chairman, we have a lot of room to run. We're not there yet. Foster had raised the question of, you know, what do we do after we see all the effects of the tax cut go into effect? We see durable changes to the way businesses are investing here in the United States.
Hal, you know, I'm glad Mattie brought that up because I was going to follow up. She read in my mind. That was my follow-up question to her. You know, a lot of people are saying, hey, this is a sugar high. It's nice, it's fun, not expected, but it's temporary. What would you say to those people?
Look, I would say this. The American people are finally being led by an administration that has put America in the driver's seat. We're flexing our economic power, and it's given independence to Americans, economic independence and independence to America. So that's what I would say to that. And I think that for the first time, the country is finally looking out and going, wow, we really can win this, and Donald Trump has put America first.
Mattie, you mentioned Jerome Powell, and I want to pick up on that because I don't think a lot of people understand that really of all the potential things that can derail an economic rebound in the stock market like this, it's usually the Federal Reserve. They have the power and the might and the breadth to do it. And you've got a guy who was criticized, who has been criticized for not being your sort of classically trained economist. Instead, this is a business guy. This is a market guy. He came from Carlisle. I felt like today was a reminder of that for market participants, that we have someone who won't accidentally derail this economy.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Charles, and I agree with you. I was really happy to see the chairman's comments today, which basically indicated that the Fed should be looking at the full total picture when it decides to make its next move. Now, there wasn't really any indication that the rate hike that's planned for September would be defrayed by anything happening in the economy, but the chairman was pretty transparent. He basically said, listen, what I'm looking at right now, it looks like optimism, it feels like optimism, I'm going to act like it's optimism. And I really think that that will set the stage for continued economic growth in the future without this kind of hedging our bets and pearl clutching about what the Fed's going to do, because you're right, it's not someone wearing green eye shades at the head of the Fed now, it's someone with a business mind on his shoulders, and I think that's going to help us in an economy that's doing so well.
Hal, of course, the other news today, we were sort of hoping that we'd get something on Mexico with respect to NAFTA. That didn't materialize. Yesterday, the China trade minister went home. He didn't have bad things to say. The headline said he did, but I read his statements. They actually seemed pretty conciliatory, and it suggests that they would like to get something done at some point. But many people think that this is sort of the unknown factor that could actually evolve into some form of a black swan. Should we be concerned, and how much time should we give it before we're really concerned?
No, I don't think we should be concerned. I don't think there was an expectation that anything would come out of today's final meetings. That wasn't really in the cards, so I don't think that's something that was unknown. But what I would say is that, look, we can win this trade war, and we are winning this trade war. If you look at what's happening in the markets, as you said at the beginning, we're at all-time highs. China is down on the year, and China's down 20% from its highs. The U.S. is hitting all-time highs.
When do we declare victory, though? I think a lot of people are saying, hey, and particularly, and including a lot of President Trump's people who believe in him and understand that they're willing to take short-term pain for the long-term gain. But when do we declare victory? What does it look like?
Well, victory looks like the Chinese opening up their markets, They're stop stealing IP, and we have a real trade partner instead of a partner that's really an economic pariah towards the United States. And that's when we're going to be seeing that we will win this trade war. And with Mexico, I think that Mexico is going to come first. It's expected to happen here in the next, I would say within the next month. We could see some very positive things out of Mexico. And a win there is going to be, again, where we have more open trade markets with Mexico, and we can actually sell products into their country.
And on that note, we actually heard some good things out of Canada today. First time we'd heard anything like that. Mattie, Hal, thank you both very much. Mattie, always appreciate your optimism.
Of course.
All
Have a good weekend.
Well, the immigration debate is heating up. Of course, got a lot of press this week.